Genes don't explain everything. The problem with reductionism. You know how people often say that biology, especially our genes, can explain just about everything? People really focus on genetic determinism, which says that things like intelligence, success, or even your social class are just down to your DNA. If poverty is inherited biologically, then it's not society's fault. Wilson argued that social behaviors like competition, hierarchy, even gender roles could be explained through evolutionary biology, that we're just survival machines for DNA. It's a classic example of reductionism, the idea that you can understand the whole by reducing it to its smallest parts. Organisms aren't just shaped by the world, they shape it in return. Evolution isn't a gene lottery. It's a dynamic process involving feedback, construction, and change. But Levins and Lewontin saw this for what it was: ideology dressed up as science. A way to claim that capitalism, patriarchy, and racism are somehow biologically inevitable. And if behavior is in your genes, then there's no point trying to change the system. It becomes a justification for the status quo, like intelligence, violence, poverty, and even who you vote for. Well, scientists Richard Levins and Richard Lewontin are here to shake things up a bit. They argue that this idea is totally off base. It's not just a scientific misconception, it's also a political one. You can't understand a complex, living organism or a society by looking only at molecules. Genes don't act in a vacuum. Their effects depend on the environment, on development, on history, on relationships. Biology isn't a simple cause and effect machine, it's a web of interactions and contradictions. This myth is often used to justify the way the ruling class looks down on the poor and marginalized. Determinism is the idea that our biology totally shapes who we are. Why is this dangerous? Because if inequality is genetic, then it's natural. Levins and Lewontin were especially critical of sociobiology, popularized by E.O. Wilson in the 1970s. And then there's Richard Dawkins. In The Selfish Gene, he famously claimed that genes are the central players in evolution. But Levins and Lewontin say, no, that's not how life works. That's what they mean by a dialectical approach to biology. So when someone says it's just in your genes, you should pause and ask, is this science or is this ideology? Because biology can be used to explain the world or to excuse it. And Levins and Lewontin remind us, which one we choose is always political.